Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. We are buzzing as always, and today we got an OG crypto lad on the show, like a true OG crypto lad coming on the show, who also has an elite video and audio setup. And I love when my guests have an elite audio and video setup. I got great audio, but my video is absolute trash. I still use the MacBook. It's a little old. Kyle just gave me a great tip, and I'm going to steal his tip. So when you guys see me in a couple weeks, I am going to look just as good as Kyle. Time for the intro. Today we have the one and only Kyle Chassé on the show today. A true OG, he has founded, advised, invested in numerous early-stage blockchain projects since 2012. In 2013, he founded World Super Lotto, WSL, the world's first global lottery based on Bitcoin. I can't wait to get into that. In 2014, he went all in on Bitcoin and then Ethereum, and then was COO of Credits, a blockchain as a service company. He's done a whole bunch, founded the review agency. Since then, he has been lucratively analyzing and investing in infrastructure and protocol projects from Kraken, Coinbase, UBANX, Bitfinex, Bitfinance, RNDR, you name it, present day. And this happened in 2018. He founded Master Ventures, a blockchain advisory and think tank, which used to be based in, I believe, Thailand, or I believe it was Thailand. And now
I lived there, but it's, yeah. Anyway, keep going.
And now he's back in Austin. But anyways, what a bio. Kyle, welcome to the show, my friend. Pumped to have you on. How you doing this morning?
Thanks, Matt. Good to be here.
Pumped to have you, mate. Pumped to have you. Great place to start. Again, whenever I have a guest on the show, there's usually one line where I'm like, what the F? Like, how did this happen? We got to go back to 2013, 12 years ago. Founding World Super Lotto, the first global lottery based on Bitcoin. Give me this whole story. As soon as I saw the bio, I was like, I got to ask him this. So give me the goods. How the hell, like, what was the idea? What was the inception point? And how did it all work out?
Well, I came across Bitcoin in 2012. I think like a lot of people that got into Bitcoin around that era, I mean, you either were like a cypherpunk or you were buying weed on Silk Road, right? I was the latter, right? So a lot of people won't admit that, but like if you got into Bitcoin in 2012, like there's a 80% chance you did it through Ross, right? But that was just when it was brought to my attention, but it really was in 2013 when I really went down the rabbit hole. And at the time I was running a previous company that was in longevity and anti-aging called the Reverse Aging Institute. And Bitcoin, when it was used from WikiLeaks, which I was fascinated by that whole story, right, of Julian Assange and what he was doing and how they started accepting Bitcoin as donations to circumvent all the other centralized pressure from stopping them allowing donations to go. That's when I'm like, wow, this is really powerful, because I was like always wearing the tinfoil hat since I was, quite young. And so I was always like thinking about, man, what the hell are we supposed to do about all these governments taking over the world, controlling us and blah, blah, blah. Like, what are we going to do? I never even voted for, as an American, I never even voted in one election because I thought that was all just dumb,
Yeah.
And when Bitcoin came around, it was like, aha, like this is the thing that like I've been waiting for, something that, can actually circumvent these like choke points. And one day I was filling up some gas and I heard, the state lottery, it was like $350 million or something for this Powerball lottery, whatever.
They're so big.
And I was like, man, that's huge, and that's just for one state. Like there's 50 states in America and these lotteries happen all over the world. And Bitcoin, it's a global currency and it's not regulated. No one's looking at it. And, what if one day we could do a global lottery?
The global lottery.
How big could that jackpot get, right? And so I just started it as a fun little experiment. I didn't really, there was no intention of just, I never thought this is going to retire me one day or this is going to make a bunch of money or anything. I just thought it'd be really fun to do. And so I actually ordered from China one of these physical lottery machines. It spins the ball in the acrylic thing and then they pick it out one by one. And then I was scared also of also remember I'm a tinfoil hat kind of guy. So I was also scared about what the US might do if they found out I was operating this thing, So I ran everything. I did all of my live drawings on YouTube twice a week, but I filed for a online gambling company in Costa Rica. I made fake stories on my Instagram about how I was moving to Costa Rica. So it looked like it was all operated out of there. And I was always pseudo anonymous too. You never saw my face on these things. You heard my voice, but not my face. And if anyone's curious about the history, you can go back on the Bitcoin Talk forum. All my posts and my threads are still there. The Facebook page still exists. For some reason, YouTube deleted a lot of all the live drawing videos. I have no idea why. But anyway, it was fun. And, my my thought was always that Bitcoin would be adopted quicker than it has. That was 12 years ago,
Mm,
and we're just at the point right now where something like that might actually make sense, a Bitcoin lottery, right? It's way too
yeah.
early at the time. So that was fun. It got me kind of plugged in. I went to some conferences at the time. Like, back in the day, the Bitcoin conference was like going to a library, where Roger Ver was speaking for 30 minutes and it ended at lunchtime, and we go to cafe and grab a sandwich afterwards. That was it. Like, I remember Ledger had their prototypes that they didn't even have a hardware wallet yet. They had just these prototypes that you could see the inside of it and what they were doing. So that was the time. And then, yeah, and that was it. I shut the lottery down after about, I did 2 a week. I did about 60 drawings, so it ran for just under a year. But we had I think at one point we had the jackpot get up to like 30 or 40 or 50 Bitcoin or something like that, and it didn't seem like a lot at that time, but if we had won that
Jeez.
today, would have been nice.
What a story. Wow. I mean, heck,
Yeah.
you sort of got my head spinning there. That could really work, like present day too. I mean, on like if there was a legit global lottery, I think it could hit like
Imagine.
probably 50 billion. Like it could, yeah, it could be, that could be pretty wild. Anyways,
I
let
mean, the bigger the jackpot gets, the more it drives
exactly.
demand and attention,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be insane. Let's talk Bitcoin. We just talked Bitcoin. Let's continue buzzing on Bitcoin. Last week, heck, maybe it was earlier this week. No, I think it was last week. We hit 123K.
Yeah. The weekend,
Pretty
I think.
wild.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
weekend.
Yeah.
123K. I've been hammering this point for the last probably 2 months on the show. I said and again, no financial advice from Colin out here, just two dudes shooting the shit about crypto. I still think we are nowhere close to done, and I think the run up will be extremely violent. Are you in the same yacht as me here, Kyle?
Yeah, 100%. But I do think though, so yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, it's going to be interesting. We are starting to see, and like I talk about my YouTube channel, I feel like it's a little early to start waving the altcoin season flag, but you do see Bitcoin dominance starting to come down.
Yep.
At the time of recording right now on the 24-hour period, ETH is up 9% and Bitcoin's at 3%.
Yep.
It's been this way for a while. But regardless, I mean, we were sitting there chopping sideways for 7 months before we
Yep.
were able to break through all-time highs. And we finally did. We just smashed through it, like violently, like you said. And the fact is that everything is starting to snowball right now. You've got the ETFs have been a consistent bid, and it doesn't seem like they're exponentially picking up, right? I mean, we see like it slowed down for a while. The past couple of days have been fairly big, but what seems to be really exponentially increasing is this corporate treasuries and the
Yep.
people put, it's
Treasury
massive.
codes. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And there's again, I've spoke to a lot of folks over the last little bit. We're doing one at HLQ, and there are so many in the pipeline. Again, I can't talk about this publicly. I can say there's a lot in the pipeline. I can't say who they are, but there are, Kyle, when I say hundreds, there are hundreds of companies in the pipeline right now. And I only know of ones in North America and Europe. I don't know about the other exchanges too. And on this note, we've had the ETFs, then we've had the crypto treasury codes. I do think, and this could be a bit of a hot take, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing countries enter the arena next.
Yeah, we already know it's coming, right? I mean, but I think people will remain skeptical until that first purchase is made, you know, using from the executive order, and then if and right now we have crypto week. It's currently crypto week, but one of
Yeah,
those things in Congress is not the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill. And so even though people got excited when Trump announced it in the executive order, it still seems like a far-fetched fantasy right now until that first acquisition is made. And I don't know what they're waiting for. Like the executive order says, the Treasury and the Presidential Working Group shall look
yeah,
for means to acquire Bitcoin that doesn't cost the taxpayers money. So I don't know, what are we waiting for? Like, let's go. Bo Hine says that they are looking for ways, but like we have like, what is it, $3 billion worth of cheese in our reserves? Like what do we need cheese for? Like sell the fucking cheese and buy some Bitcoin. My God, like what are we doing? Like Jesus, like, reprice the gold, do something, but I think that you're right. And I think that, as much as we can see other countries stacking, when America makes its first acquisition, which it will, and maybe we have to wait until one of these
flood
Bitcoin
floodgates open
floodgates open,
completely. Yeah,
complete, chain reaction happens at that point.
it's
Nuts.
It's gonna be spooky. Again, it's gonna be spooky because maybe Hyperliquid you could put in there with the cap supply, but besides those two, I don't think there's any others in the top 20 by market cap that have a cap supply. And it's like that supply shock, which we still haven't really felt yet, will finally be felt. I still don't know about all this stuff personally in regards to, you know, the whales from 2012, like you. I don't know how many Bitcoin you have, but regardless, the folks who bought in 2012 are offloading thousands a day, and that's why the Sailor buys aren't adding up in the Meta Planet buys and so on and so forth. I don't know about that. I think a lot of it is just leverage as well with you know, exchanges hunting and exchanges having so much visibility because it is decentralized and really just filling those wicks and hammering people out, liquidating people. But again, I think when it happens, it's going to really pop some heads off, and people are, you know, to me, the last one was like 30K to 60K. I think that happened in a month back in 2021. Like that was, I remember waking up every day, Kyle, and it was like Bitcoin. I'd go to bed at midnight, wake up at 7. Bitcoin was 5K higher. At 30K going from 30 to 35, that's what, 18%? That's a meaningful rip. I think that's going to happen next. Could be wrong though.
You know, and we've always kind of looked at, you know, the 99% retail as the kind who FOMO easily. But, you know, you know, when we talk about Wall Street, when we talk about family offices and pension funds and ultra high net worths, they made their money over decades in slow moving things like real estate and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they're probably less moved by FOMO, but, you know, they've been watching, like, whether they're in yet or not,
100%.
they've been watching Bitcoin now for a while. And I think that we're going to get a large amount of institutional FOMO as the price starts moving, because people are sitting there going, man, I should have bought it at 70. But it was too expensive. I should have bought it at 90, but it was too expensive. And it's like, when are you going to learn your lesson that, like, it's still not too expensive right now? And so people will, it just takes enough of them watching and waiting and sidelining before they start to come in. And that's why we see consistent bids on the ETFs. You know, you would think that one might think that someone like BlackRock and Fidelity have the Rolodex of everyone that they want to target the second the ETF launches, and that, okay, everyone that was willing to buy Bitcoin when it launches, we're going to be all in. But no, like, these investment advisors need to have many, many, many conversations, many days at the golf course with these super rich people before they finally say yes. And that's why every day you see inflows coming in from BlackRock, because it's just convincing people over time. And they probably still have 1 million more customers that haven't agreed to do it yet.
Yeah, well said. I mean, great dive on Bitcoin. Let's talk about ETH. And Kyle, we'll hit most of the big ones here. ETH finally picking up steam. Literally, it seems like the last 18 months, there's been nothing but ETH slander on the timeline. Everyone was just shitting on ETH in multiple different facets. I didn't really shit on them, but I also, you know, I hold some ETH that I assume like you do and like most of us do. And it's not fun seeing your bags go down. It's also not fun seeing the foundation maybe focus on some nonsensical bollocks when it's like, focus on the shit that matters. Like, make ETH that pillar of decentralized finance. And I for one feel like they dropped the ball a lot. But ETH still is the biggest dog in the DeFi arena. Has the highest TVL by country mile, tons of touch points, network effects, blah blah blah. You name it. I don't know how much higher it's going to go. I do think it's going to go a little bit higher. Do you think we're also in for an ETH blow top, like just blowing the top off, going parabolic like Bitcoin? Or is ETH going to sort of settle at its previous all-time high?
So, you know, I was one of the people who were not shitting on ETH, because Solana's last major recent outage was just last year, right? I mean, it's been going good for a year without even Trump coin without going down. And, you know, props to Solana. Like, I think they're fantastic. I think they're innovating. They're moving quick and breaking things, like, and that's what you need to do to develop the next generation blockchain that's going to handle a different use case than Ethereum is, right? I mean, everyone says Ethereum's slow and expensive, but Ethereum is really cheap and really fast compared to TradFi, right? Like, you know, when you need to settle something in 12 seconds versus 3 to 4 days, that's like orders of magnitude quicker and orders of magnitude cheaper than TradFi. And if you are the CEO or the board of one of these institutions managing billions and billions and billions of dollars, if you want to move to blockchain and you build on Ethereum, if something happens, which nothing has happened to Ethereum since the DAO hack, you know, but like, if you move to Ethereum, you're probably not getting fired for that decision of choosing a chain to operate on.
Good point.
And it's probably still exponentially better than the TradFi rails that you were on before. But if you go to Solana, because it's cheap and fast, and that's where the retail meme coin traders are, and something goes wrong, everyone's looking and you go, why the fuck didn't you go to Ethereum? Like it has way more years of battle testedness than Solana has or
Yeah.
Sui has, for example. And so I think like, yes, ETH has like a 10-year roadmap to be like slightly better at scaling, right? It's just ridiculous, 2030, and maybe they get a little bit better at scaling. But it has that same kind of appeal that Bitcoin does. It's that thing that doesn't go down. They're very meticulous and careful before they upgrade things because there's so much value in the network. And there's real, like Aave has $51 billion of assets under management, $51 billion. Like that's insane. And that's all on Ethereum. So for me personally, I'm still very bullish on the price for Ethereum. I think we're starting to see massive inflows from ETFs. Like we also have to remember that you and I are in the trenches. We're like plugged into what's happening in crypto, and everyone's in the same echo chamber. Solana's faster, cheaper. It's where retail's coming. Yeah, it's where retail's coming, and meme coins will exist there. And there are good products being built on Solana. It's not just a shitcoin factory, obviously. But maybe next bull run, that's where institutions decide to be building, right? And some institutions are doing on things on Solana, but I don't think it's at the magnitude that things are being built on Ethereum. And when we see the amount of capital required to raise the market cap of these decacorn valuations, this 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 billion valuations, you need a lot of capital to come into that, right?
Shit ton, yeah.
And when retail traders come and play the meme coin casino, they're only buying Sol for gas, right? And then they're buying all these shit coins on Pump Fund and Let's Bonk and others. And so I do think that like Solana and Sui and things like that are very interesting, and they're going to run hard. But for me personally, I've got more of my portfolio in Ethereum than I do the other L1s combined, other than Bitcoin, right? So yeah, so that's my thesis on Ethereum.
Okay. I like that. I tend to agree with a lot of what you said. My only caveat would be, I think Ethereum still has a lot of trouble, Kyle, in onboarding the masses. And I do think in order to get to where we want to be, you need that dual prong approach. One prong is the institutional capital to really increase TVL, and just more money in the arena is rarely a bad thing. But you also need users. And Solana is doing a much better job, at least of onboarding users. You have the degen stuff, like obviously Pump Fund and all the memes, but then you also have companies like, you know, like Helium, Hivemapper. Like you have a lot of really good deep in companies, RWA companies. I know there's a lot of those on ETH as well, but that's just my 2 cents. And one thing that I think should be noted is, just like you've probably onboarded more people than me, but at least my personal friends who I've onboarded, Kyle, who I can then have real world follow-ups with, they all prefer Solana to Ethereum. They find the user experience much better too. And I think that's something that really matters.
It's 1,000% better. I mean, it's night and day. You know, okay, so like it's 1,000 times. If you're comparing MetaMask to Phantom and setting up those wallets and using those wallets, it's 1,000x better. If you compare Phantom to Rabby wallet, for example, it's 20x better or something like that, right? Rabby's a much better version of an Ethereum-based wallet than MetaMask is. MetaMask is horrible. But base layer Ethereum doesn't need to upgrade for user experience to be improved. We've got things like Privy Wallet, for example, that makes the whole wallet abstraction, wallet creation, onboarding process much better.
It's the apps that need to be better.
Yeah. You know, the things that we've been building, we've upgraded, you know, wallet user onboarding by installing Privy, for example, right? And this makes it so we can invite people to come join the platform. They can sign up using a link. The wallet's created for them in the background. All they have to do is use it as a you know, Web 2 authentication thing, and it's all done for them. So you're removing a degree of decentralization from that equation. Like it's not full self custody at the sign up. They can opt in for that. But if you want to make it more simple and like it's not a ton of money at stake, then these kind of solutions, they help.
100%.
I still agree with you that Solana is a way better user experience, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. No free ads, but Privy is a sick fucking company. Jesus. I know they got acquired, but wow, what a great company. Okay, Kyle, quick shout out to our sponsor of the show, PrimeXPT. When we get back, we're going to keep buzzing. Huge shout out to PrimeXPT, longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. We love the team at PrimeXPT as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. PrimeXPT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. Use the promo code CryptoNews50. That's CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Now back to the show with Kyle. Okay, paid network. I love paid network. candidly, I have not used it. I don't even know if I can as a Canadian, but I'm
You
doing
can.
research with the show. I can?
Yeah.
Okay. And doing research with the show, you guys are tokenizing private markets. And I find this ironic in the best way possible, as Robinhood had their tokenization of private markets last week with OpenAI, and then OpenAI comes back and says, hey, by the way, we didn't give you the green light on this. That's hilarious. You guys are doing this the right way and are opening up equity markets, whatever you want to call it, for really good verticals like AI and robotics, and even better companies. The poor folks like us have never had an opportunity to get in to these pre-stage investments. Now we do. It's fucking massive. I love this. Tell us a little bit more about Paid Network.
Yeah, this is what I have been like incredibly passionate about long before we created either Paid Network, or the other one that I've co-founded is called Commonwealth. The difference for for people watching is Paid Network is more of a one-off, like we offer you this opportunity and you get to come in through it, and then you manage it. You manage your either your tokens or your equity on your own in the future. Where Commonwealth is a bit designed for more your everyday person who just wants to invest in a certain sector or whatever. It's Commonwealth is more of like a fund. It's more of an A16Z for the masses. Again, A16Z and other funds, people, the minimum buy-in is usually $500,000 or whatever. You need to be a accredited investor. But Commonwealth designed something that allows people to invest in these kind of fund structures, more managed for them through a DAO. But both entities are moving into this field of offering early stage deals. For example, Commonwealth just announced 30 minutes ago the first equity deal, which I'm incredibly excited about. It's called Hadron. And like, this is really cool. So there's a lot of, up until recently, actually, like the IPOs in the stock market has been really quiet the past several years, right? But then you saw, then you saw Coinbase launch, and then more recently Circle, and these things are performing like crazy altcoin season, right? And then these treasury companies and stuff like that. So, but there are other sectors that are absolutely exploding far beyond what we've seen in the last, in the last 5 years or whatever. The sectors are AI, robotics, nuclear, supersonic travel, and defense. And we saw companies like Andreal, for example, go from
parabolic
nothing to what is it, 40, 50, $60 billion overnight, essentially. You saw
I didn't hear them till 2 years ago. I think a year and a half ago. I'm like, who is this company? And then you look at the chart, it's literally it's absurd. That's military tech though, and that's drones. Like Balaji and everyone's talked about for so long now. It's like next decade of war is going to be just shit flying over your head. There's going to be no boots on the ground.
Yeah. So for example, the first deal is that's coming out of Commonwealth right now is something called Hadron. And why I'm really excited about Hadron is, a few months ago, Trump signed the Unleash, energy kind of bill. And what he did is he removed all the regulatory red tape from nuclear. Nuclear has been really hard. A lot of companies who tried to do nuclear over the past decade or two failed because of the NRC and because of the tens of millions of dollars and 8 years or so on average it would take to get licenses.
Absurd. That's
totally
absurd.
Crazy. And that has been completely changed with Trump's executive order. And so there's a company called Hadron that I'm really excited about. They're basically the gigafactory of nuclear. So they're producing like the smallest, lightest, most portable and transportable nuclear reactors that can fit in the back of a truck and be deployed anywhere in the world. And as we see a massive increase of energy demands from Bitcoin mining, AI data factories, big energy demand is just through the roof. The whole sector for me at energy is really exciting because it's such a huge demand. So anyway, this is a cool opportunity. Right now it's being offered to anybody. It goes on, I think tomorrow it opens up. $70 million valuation seed round. And they already have, they've already started talking to and are on the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's website, which is, according to ChatGPT O3 Pro model, which I think is the best due diligence model thing, AI agent in there. This is the biggest obstacle to overcome, is that regulatory. And once they get past that stage, the evaluation automatically, not investment advice, obviously, but like from what I've been told and what I've seen is once these go from not having that regulatory clarity to having regulatory clarity, valuation usually does like a 3 to 5x. And then these things often, these energy companies often, when they go public, and they often go public before actually even shipping the first unit, they're multi-billion-dollar valuations. And so this to me is really, really interesting.
I mean, that's incredible. So walk me through like the onboarding process. How does someone get involved if they want access to these sweet deals? Like very quickly, just to give me the high level, how does it work?
Yeah, so you can either go to paidnetwork.com, or that's for paid network, which isn't quite there yet. This first one coming up on Commonwealth is tomorrow at WLTHwealth.xyz. And you can just sign up, join with your wallet. It has Privy installed. So again, it's a really easy, Web 2 type of onboarding feel. And then there's a really sweet like Git book that explains how everything works. It's just easy to understand. Another really cool feature that Wealth just launched, Commonwealth launched as well, is gifting your investments. So I find this really valuable for me. Someone who, at Christmas or birthdays, I want to give people crypto. I want to give people, I want to help them. Like I'm the one person in my family who like really knocked it out the park, but I want to give back to my family, but like, I don't want to just give them $50 of something. Well, I kind of do, but it's kind of hard. But what I like to do is try to set them up financially over the next decade or so. Right. And so one of the things I can do with this Hadron investment, for example, is I can go and I can buy, let's say I want to give it to 5 family members. I can go buy $5,000 worth of it. I can fractionalize that and I can put their emails in there, and it sends them an email and says, hey, Grandma Kathy, Kyle just got you $1,000 investment into Hadron. Click here to check out your gift. Right. And they just click the link. Boom, it creates their account on Wealth.
That's a late.
And now they own this investment, which I just got for them as a gift. They can also do that with crypto. They can give gifts to everybody. This is a really cool thing. I think this is going to enable a lot of onboarding. I don't know if you ever met, like if I get a ride from a really awesome taxi driver in Bali or something, I want to give them $50 of Bitcoin or something like that. It's really hard to do otherwise. But now all I have to do is put their email into Commonwealth, and if they get an email, all I have to do is click the button and their account's created for them. It's amazing.
So good. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's jump into MV. I know MV, and correct me if I'm wrong here, my apologies, but MV sort of like the parent company, these two?
Yeah.
Okay.
MV Global. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the parent company, not really consumer facing, but it's the consumer facing entities like Paid and like Wealth that really are the magic makers.
Right.
Okay. Got you. Okay. So we don't
MV also has a fund, LP standard VC fund, fully deployed by now. We're looking to start raising fund 2 in a few months, and it's done quite well. We invested in things like Coinbase and Kraken and Ripple and Circle.
You were early.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Present day in the fund, what themes are you looking for? What trends are you looking for? Is it the convergence of AI and crypto? Is it RWAs? Is it DePIN? Like what are your criteria, and perhaps what do you look for in a founder? Like if you're trying to invest in someone and there's good opportunity, what queries need to be hit in order for you to move forward?
Well, since we're not actively deploying right now on behalf of the fund, it's a bit more of a difficult question for me to answer than it would have been when we were actively pursuing deals. Right now I think that this is also for me why I've been actually more doing due diligence on non-crypto deals. One of the things that I learned, I'll tell you, one of the lessons that I learned from being in these market cycles is I don't personally like to invest so much from the VC side in a bull market. Valuations get overhyped. They get too expensive.
Good point.
They may or may not launch. And then if they don't launch in the bull market, which a ton of my investments didn't launch in 2021, they didn't get there on time. The market dropped and then they died in a bear market. Or they maybe survived by hibernating and now they're waiting to launch for market conditions to get better. I like to try to harvest and take profit.
Such a good point. Such a good point.
In the bull market. And then I like to take that cash, and in a bear market, I like to look at, these more reasonable and rational valuations and deploy in a bear market. So I think, for anyone who's running a business or looking, the bull market's all about harvesting and collecting capital and raising money. So, everyone wants to give you money in a bull market to do things like start companies, run funds, whatever, because everyone's rich, but in a bear market, it's so hard to raise money. And so I never want to find myself in position again to try to be raising money in a bear market. So I don't really know. And I think that we don't know. One of the things that's thrown a wrench in everything has been meme coins. And it comes in and just like really mess things up as far as concentration of energy. Before last bull run, 2021, you had like very specific narratives that popped off, whether it was gaming or whether it was this or that. And now it's like, hey, look at this shiny thing, and everyone's just
Get rich Get rich
Yeah,
quick. That's what it is.
it's get rich quick. I know it's horrible,
But
but
hold
that's
up, Kyle. Sorry to interrupt you here. Is that? I agree with you. I don't love it. And unless you're a true trencher and degen like us, I really don't think you should be participating. And what I've onboarded my normie friends, I tell them like you have a 99% chance of losing. Like these TikTok videos or Instagram videos that you're watching where someone turns a grand into a milli, that is literally like winning Kyle's
yeah.
World Super Lotto in 2013. Like you're literally pulling a rabbit out of a hat. So with that being said, the reason why I think this is happening is because the younger generation, I'm a 95, all right? So even my younger friends than me, they feel like they're trapped. Us Canadians, like, my parents could buy a house for 100K and sell it for 1 million. We can't buy a house for 1 mil and sell it for 10 mil. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And everyone is, and then, job wages aren't raising along with inflation and cost of goods. So I feel like everyone's in this, I got to get rich now, or this is my only way out thing. And that's why they go to memes. Like, and then you have the hyper financialization of everything. You have gambling ads. Again, you're in Austin. I don't know what the TV's like in USA, but in Canada, every time you watch TV, and I only watch sports and rarely do, but there's gambling ads being pushed down your throat. I scroll Twitter and I get gambling ads. Like, I just feel like the whole hyper financialization, get rich quick, gamble, gamble, gamble. The younger generation, I genuinely think that they think that's their only way out. Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think you're absolutely correct. And that's that's what everyone, if you meet a random person, right, and they say, what do you do, Matt? You tell them that you're in crypto and they automatically assume that you're a trader, right? Because everyone comes into the market for trading. That's what happens, right? If they look at us just like a stock market or something and assume we must be traders, for the record, I'm not one. And that's what everyone comes into it for. And yeah, they see these viral stories, like you said, 1,000 turning to 1,000,000. And so they go after that. But the reality is that 99.9% will lose their money. I think for those who don't leave at that point, because a lot do, but the ones that stick around need to start adjusting their strategy. And maybe they start watching educational content like this and realize that if I, like, instead of spending my last 2 months of paychecks on these shit coins and going to zero, maybe I should start looking for better opportunities to invest in. And that's where something like Paid Network comes in 2021. Still to today, Paid Network is ranked number 2 globally of all time as far as ROI. So we've done quite well compared to the others in being selective. But I will admit here fully that our due diligence bar was very low. So if we're the second best of all time on ROI, and I'm telling you that our due diligence bar was very low last bull run, the rest of them were just utter crap. But one of the things that we've done over the past bear market is figure out how do we make a better investing platform. So for the people who are done and sick of losing their money into the shitcoin casino, how can they actually invest in like better quality companies that have much less chance? Sure, there's a big chance they'll still go to zero, even if we do due diligence, even if A16 is investors or whatever, still, even A16Z expects that 9 out of 10 of their investments go to zero, right? But how do we make it so the odds aren't so stacked against you? And that's what kind of our goal is, both at Commonwealth and Paid Network, but they have different ways of actually sorting and presenting the deals to the community. But with that being said, we've taken a long, hard look at ourselves in 2021. We were not proud of the way that we did our due diligence, but we've really stepped that up a lot. And so the deals that will be brought to people, and the first one is coming in, I think, about 3 weeks. We've been quiet, right? Paid Network has been quiet. The market hasn't been ready to receive these. Most product launches, most launches are they're down below, so people just aren't interested in investing in them. But I think that times are changing. We need altcoin season to be strong to support that. We need more retail traders to come in to buy secondary. And I think that we're on the cusp of that. So Paid Network is planning on doing its first launch with a company called Blue Whale in a few weeks, which I can't tell all the details, but very strong, like amazing backers from everybody, tier 1 exchanges lined up. And the founder, Han, is really, really good. I don't know if you know about the TV show that we were on called Crypto Nights, but it's on Amazon Prime Video. And that was really interesting. And Han was one of the participants there. He got investment from all 5 nights. And so I'm really excited to do that launch. And also the cool thing about one of the things that we've invented at Paid Network, which then later Binance went and stole it, the idea, and it's pretty clear, is what I call LCOs, which is kind of what I think is evolution of, and it's trying to capture some of that meme coin dreams of how can I actually make an investment and do a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x? And how can projects compete in that space? If you offer to the public a valuation that's higher than all the VCs, like there's not a good shit. Like the public then thinks, shoot, I got to offload these tokens before the VCs unlock. So they have no real incentive to hold on to those tokens for the long term. They should dump them as quickly as possible because the VCs got much lower prices. So
what does the L stand for? What does the L stand
low
for?
FDV community offering. And so the idea is to give each community member a small allocation, but a very, very, very discounted one. So I think the last valuation of Blue Whale, for example, was 120 million or something, 150 million, but we're offering it for 30 million, right, on paid network. So it gives a much lower valuation. And so the hope is, by educating the audience, hey guys, you're getting a really good entry, way better than all the VCs. There's no need to like urgently try to flip this thing on a launch. Maybe this thing becomes the next, Solana or Virtuals or whatever one day. And yeah, you could flip it on the launch for a 2 or 3x, but like, what if you hold on to it and it does a 50, 100, 200, 300, 400x?
Yeah. Well said. Kyle, what an episode. Appreciate you coming on, mate. This was a lot of fun. Geez, we barely scratched the surface too. Must have you on for round 2. You do a lot of stuff. So plug everything you do, plug MV, plug paid, plug it all, and of course, plug your own socials too.
Yeah, I think if you go to X, my X account, which is at Kyle_Chassé, CHASSE, there's one of those links that give you all my links to everything else, which is there. But my YouTube, which is, I make daily content Monday through Friday. Really, really good. Like, I love making my YouTube videos because I learn so much from making them, because we have a research team that helps with everything. So I'm really stay plugged in, but that's Kyle Chassé Crypto. I already gave you my X. Paid network is paidnetwork.com. Commonwealth just rebranded, or is in the current process of rebranding. So that's not quite there yet, but it's WLTH, which is a token ticker, .xyz, wealth.xyz. And that's all the major platforms. But I think, just my YouTube video is probably what I'm most proud of, and I think brings the most alpha.
Love that. And as always, we will include everything in the show notes. Huge shout out to Kyle Chassé, founder of MV Global, for coming on the pod. Chiseled vet in the space and a true OG. Again, huge shout out to Kyle and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, I hope you did. Please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking of the team, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And back to the listeners, keep on growing those bags. Go touch some grass in this beautiful summer of ours. And as always, keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Love you guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.